you are able to instantly fix the duplicates.
Go to insert, just select drop down.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Curious Minds podcast. Today we are continuing our conversation with Kshithij Anand Belman, and this episode is going to be special. Kshithij will be sharing some tips and techniques for Google Sheets, which I'm sure will be helpful to many people. I'm really excited for this one, so without waiting any further, let's dive in. So Kshithij, you told me you have some interesting and helpful tips for Google Sheets, right? So why can't you jump in?
Yes, I'll be speaking and sharing 4 Google Sheets tips that will definitely be helpful for you. I won't be covering the basic ones, but rather tips that are slightly more advanced, yet still practical. So let's dive into the first scenario. Before we get into it, let me share my screen so you can follow along. So imagine you have a lot of data. Over here you can see I have a lot of countries and some states. Now, if you have a lot of duplicates in it, it will be a pain to remove them manually, right? Like by manually selecting them, removing them, especially if you have a lot. So that's why this tip is very helpful. It is really easy to do. It will just take 2 seconds, I promise. All you have to do is just select all the data which have duplicates in it. Then you have to go to the data tab over here, press on data cleanup and select remove duplicates. Now a pop-up will appear. Over here it says what all you have selected. So 9 rows and 1 columns for me. And if your data has a header row, make sure to select that. And then it will say the columns to analyze, which is just column B for me. And make sure you have selected the right columns and press on remove duplicates. And now remove duplicates, press on OK, and you can see it has removed all the duplicates that I had. Now I only have India, Dubai, Bangalore, USA and Mumbai. Yeah, this is really helpful for someone who has a lot of data but has also a lot of duplicates with it. And you can see it only took 2 seconds. It was so easy to do, right?
Yeah, Kshithij, this is such an amazing tip. Wow, you are able to instantly fix the duplicates. Or else, if I were to do it manually, it would have been so frustrating and time consuming. This was simpler, easier, and overall much better. Such a great tip. So now, what's your next one? I'm more than excited for the next tip.
So, my next tip is on dropdowns. Now, let me give you an example. So, there is a student called Ramesh and he wanted to track his daily progress in sheets. Now, you can see he has put class name, assignment name, due date, and status. Now, over here you can see he has to manually type out his status each time he progressed. You can see if he started a project, he had to manually type in progress. And he didn't want to do that. He just wanted it to be an option to select. So, I have a tip for him. What you can do is you can just select all of the status that you currently have, go to insert and just select drop down. And you can see it has been converted into drop down chips. Now just press on the done button over here, close this, and now you can see if I press on the drop down, there is 4 options: completed, in progress, not started, and pending review. And you can see I can just change it to whichever one I want. So let's say English book summary. It still has to get started. Essay on World War II, it is in progress. And now lab report, it is completed. Now let's say he wanted to add another one, digital skills. So you just have to add it, put the assignment name, project, put the due date, April 15th for example, and now all he has to do is just drag and drop this just like this and change the status to anything he wants. So in progress for example. You saw that was so easy, right? Just took a couple of seconds, right?
Yeah, that was so amazing. And this is so helpful to track data, and if you want to just select options for different things. If you want to assign a certain task to different days, and much more. This is just so amazing. So what's the next one?
Now, my next step is to split text into columns. Now, over here, you can see I have a couple names, right? Now, I wanted it to split it to first name and last name for each one. Now, normally you would have to select name, cut the last name out of it, and paste it, right? Now, if you have a lot of names, it will take really long, right? That's why I have a tip for you. All you have to do is just select all of the names, and then after that just go into data, go to split text to columns over here, and then instead of having detect automatically, change it to space. Since the first name and the last name is 2 words, this is divided by a space, right? That's why select space, not full stop or semicolon or comma. Select the space, and you can see the first name and last name have been split into 2 words, right? That was so easy to do. It only took me a few seconds instead of manually copying the last name and pasting it, right?
Wow, Kshithij, that was so helpful. If I have a big list of names and want to separate the first name, middle name and last name, this would be so helpful rather than manually doing it like you said. So what's the fourth and final one for today's episode?
And let me move on to my last scenario. Over here, you can see I have English, Hindi, Kannada, Spanish and French, right? Now, imagine someone, he wants to learn Hindi, Kannada, Spanish and French, and he knows English really well. Now, what he can do is he can use this Google Translate feature. All he has to do is he just has to put it English text over here and just write this small formula where he has to just call the Google Translate function, put the text he wants to translate, and just put the source language, which is English, which is represented by EN, and then the target language, what he wants to translate it to, which is Hindi. So you just put HI, and you can see Hindi text has come out. This is hello. You can see this is namaste, right? And now here you just have to do the same thing with Kannada. Over here you can see you just select the text you want to translate, the source language, which is EN, and the target language, which is KN, Kannada, right? And you can see it says Namaskara. And the same thing for Spanish, but this time it is ES, which is Spanish. And you can see it says Hola. And the same thing for French, but FR, and you can see it says Bonjour. Now, we can also change this text to anything we want. Now, let's change it to How are you? And you can see it says Aap kaise ho? And how are you in Kannada, Spanish and French, right? Now, let's say the person can't read the language. So, that's why we can add a feature which allows the user to play the audio. So, let me press on this link.
आप कैसे हैं?
Saw that it said Aap kaise hai? Look.
आप कैसे हैं?
That is so cool, right? Now, let's try with Kannada. So, if we press on this,
ಹೇಗಿದ್ದೀಯಾ?
see,
ಹೇಗಿದ್ದೀಯಾ?
Hikindia. And now, let's go back and let's try Spanish.
¿Cómo estás?
You can see it says ¿Cómo estás? That's so cool, right? Now, to create this, it's really easy. If I double click on this, you can see all you have to do is just add an hyperlink, put the translate link, and then after that just encode the URL with the translated text and just put the language, which is HI for Hindi, as we learned before, and then just put play audio here, and then you can see if I press on this,
आप कैसे हैं?
आप कैसे हैं? This is the same method for all of them. Just one thing is changed, the language name and what it needs to encode. For this one it is KN because it is Kannada. For Spanish it is ES, and the same thing for French.
Right.
You can see that was how you create Google Translate in Sheets. That was so nice, right? This will be really helpful for people who want to learn multiple languages.
Oh wow, this is really beautiful. If we can use this technique, we can learn multiple languages. And if somebody is comfortable with English, they can learn Kannada and Spanish, right? So, Kshithij, I wanted to ask you, can somebody learn Tamil or Telugu or any other Indian languages?
They just have to change the language code I showed you. Yeah, you know that KN or HI or EN one? Yes, they just have to change that to their preferred language.
Oh wow, this is definitely awesome. And many people can learn languages on their own using this. And I think this is definitely useful to many. Thank you so much, Kshithij, for tuning in with us into this episode. And that's all for this episode. And for our audience, that's it for this episode. We will catch you with the next exciting item or topic on our next episode. And if you want to ask any questions to Kshithij, then drop them down below in the